And we are live, July 13th, 2021, 8:40 p.m. at the time of this broadcast. All right, nice, Dan. Appreciate you having my back on that, man. Sneed moves on his own time. Well, we just wrapped up the Patreon podcast, so I had to create this stream and then just, make sure everything was good, for the broadcast. It does take a few minutes, so. But yeah, we're here and we're live. We got baby Yoda in the house. Let's go ahead and hashtag Mod Squad for all the moderators out there. What's up, Big Mike? Yeah, that's the carryover hashtag from the podcast on the Patreon. My brother Siova's in the house. Good to see you, man. Hector is here as well. They made it over from the Patreon. Glad you can make it here to the YouTube side as well. Seeing the T-Mobile ads already on the TV for the All-Star game. Tyrone, T-Mobile's big with the MLB, man.
It's really their only biggest partnership they got, really. They don't have anything NFL related. That's all Verizon. The NBA is mainly AT&T, and that's pretty much it. That's the only thing that T-Mobile has.
Yeah, that's true. Josh, glad you could be here. PA Tech says listening while riding the bike. Hashtag dedication. Hashtag SMT Nation and hashtag Mod Squad. Nice. As soon as it comes on, that is. Gotcha. Dalvin is here. We got Running Flame. I blame Moose. You ever try to make one of them move when they don't want to? Josh, you're going to be home by the time the man... Oh, come on, man. Really? What's up, Kimberly? Glad you could be here tonight. Sneed moves like a slut. Why are you guys picking on me? What is wrong with you guys? Yeah, I save a little bit of power for the gym, trying to get the gains. You feel me? Yeah. Oh my God, Josh, I hate you. Josh, you're literally the worst. Seven Lucifer is here. Dave B's Tech is in the house. Good to see you, man. Ethan with the hashtag Mod Squad. Jamie, glad you could be here tonight. We got Dalvin already. We got Sylvain. Jose, my brother, is in the house. Yeah, man. Aspiring Mod Squad. Shannon is here. Mike, we got already. Okay. Let's see. The hashtags are incredible. What's up, Carter? That's right, man. Big John Tech Reviews. Me and Emily are sitting here watching. We're ready for a live stream, and I will send you a link and let you know ahead of time. Yes. I will be there. Big John, I will, man. Send the link, bro. You can email me. I got my email address down below, or you can just DM me on Twitter, whatever you like, man. Service has been in and out like crazy for a minute to 20 minutes at a time from South Carolina. Who's your provider, Troy? Who are you using these days? Curious. Wonder if it has anything to do with the weather, too. I could see Verizon doing 100 gigs of hotspot next year with C-band. I don't know. Does that seem like Verizon's MO, Tyrone?
Not really, but if that is their response, next year would be way too late. They have to do it a little sooner than that.
We got Keon in the house. Live and direct from Cleveland, Ohio. Flyboy Rex, email me, and I'll get back to you on a link for that email. I'll help you out with that. But if you don't email me, I'll forget. So, hey Barry. Oh, nice, Jamie, working at Boost now. Nice. What's up, Big Zach? How you doing, bud? Mario is here. We got Blind Droid Tech in the house. Dave B with the first super chat of the evening. Appreciate you, Dave. Thank you, man. Always appreciate the support.
Now that we're talking about Keon, I think he needs to send an email to Eugene to get some kind of sponsorship, because he's taking it left and right in the comment section. That comment section is no good to him.
Come on, Keon. You know Eugene is your boy, bro. That's your homie. You know it. Marc is here. Thanks for coming through, Marc. Appreciate you, man. We got a lot of comments in the comment section. I'm trying to get through it here. Chuck Steck is here. The homie Tim is in the house. Good to have you, man. Glad you could stop by for once, man. Bro, I don't want to talk about that 3 megahertz, man. That isn't even a slice. It's a morsel. Not even a slice, man. It's so bad, Tyrone. The band 26 here. Trash. Ascending rep. Give Tyrone 5 megahertz. And of course, Keon with the customary dono. He got some laughs at it.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, Steven. Being pro magenta comes with its risks in the chat. Good luck, man. I'll tell you what's worse, Tyrone. The live chat of the podcast when it goes live or the comment section of the videos? What do you think is a little bit harder to navigate?
It would have to be the comments because, man, they go at it, man. God damn. Because you have, in a live stream, you have moderators. On the comments, right. I mean, you have to moderate it yourself.
That's right. That's right. That's true.
I mean, they call Keon everything but the child of God.
Yeah, come on, y'all. Let's be nice to Keon. Let's stop being so hard on the guy. He's just a simple man. Highest level service on Sprint. You got the zebra layer cake. Nice. Zebra cakes. All right, Tyrone. Let's start in chronological order. Let's start with the yesterday's news, the new version, the upgraded AT&T Elite Plan. All right, so basically the way this works out is we have improved video resolution playback, right? We got 4K now, guaranteed, on the Elite Plan. In my experience before that, big shout out to Quentin. In my experience before that, I was getting 4K anyways. But this, I think, kind of like puts it into the terms of the service. So they would guarantee it. It would never be in question. So 4K video playback. We got a bump from 30 gigs of tethering to 40. We got no deprio ever, right? So essentially it's basically AT&T's answer to the Magenta Max plan, right? So T-Mobile did Magenta Max. Here's AT&T responding with the new Elite Plan, which is essentially the same thing. The one thing that I think is overlooked for those that travel, there's now a 40% discount rate for international travel. When you leave North America, let's say you, like I gave the example of Poland on Patreon. Let's make up a different one. You go to Italy. Instead of paying $140 for 10 days of data, you would pay $100. So they're going to give you like basically $40 off of the old rate, and then they cap you at $100. While you're there, you could be there a whole month. Is that right, Tyrone?
Yeah, that's right. It's 30 days, $100,
mm-hmm.
Unlimited to the best, I guess, to the best ability of the services where you go, whoever they're partnered with. So I think that's a big deal. A lot of the streaming and roaming that the others offered in the past was kind of like T-Mobile does. It's like 2G, which is in this day and age not really useful. I mean, you might be able to send some text messages, maybe some photos, but that's about it. I mean, you can't do any streaming on that.
No.
So AT&T taking those steps, I mean, that's a big step in the right direction.
Consumer-friendly moves, I would say, pretty much all the way through. It was just an upgrade to the plan on a lot of different fronts. Chuck's Tech chimed in here, asking a question. Thanks for the super chat. How does the new plan compare or affect Los Mobile? So it doesn't affect Los Mobile. It's very similar to Los Mobile. Essentially, what Los Mobile offers that's better is going to be the tethering hotspot. The high-speed tethering hotspot on Los Mobile is unlimited. So where the hotspot limit on the Elite Plan is 40 gigs, Los Mobile has no limit. The QCI situation is pretty much the same. Trying to think of what else might be different. The single line rate is also cheaper on Los Mobile too.
If I think the Los Mobile might have QCI 6.
I guess for certain tests it does. We'll have to confirm the whole, on-device usage. Oh, by the way, the tethering is also higher QCI. It's not QCI 9. So the on-device and the tethering QCI is the same. So that's really good. What else? Oh, and Los Mobile can also offer you a static IP, which is unique to enterprise and business. So that's pretty cool. Like, there's, in my opinion, I think the Los Mobile is a much better offer. I've used it. I can tell you guys from personal experience it is. Will T-Mobile millimeter wave ever get better? It can't get any worse. It's pretty bad. It's not very reliable, and it's not very available. So it can't get any worse than that. Let's see here. AT&T is officially the best option. Nationally, I think it 100% is. What's up, Kimon? Good to see you, man. Are they getting Netflix on through? No. Kimberly, they offer HBO Max through the Elite offer. In a few years, T-Mobile millimeter wave might be worth something. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see how much they dedicate to that.
Yeah, that's a hard prediction to make.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't like a macro only based millimeter wave network. That's not good. So
yeah,
I hope they change that. I hope they change it.
I mean, you're already talking
Tyrone,
about a bandwidth that's has less range. I mean, you have to, with the small cell, you're bringing the frequency closer to the user equipment.
Yeah.
If you leave it on the macro, it may reach a little better, but you can't build macros 1,500 feet apart in most cities, so that's just out of question.
I don't like any form of macro deployment for millimeter wave. Like, even Verizon for millimeter for macros is not great. You know, the peak speeds are lower. The signal is it's very directional, so it struggles in that scenario. I don't know. I'm not a fan. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Strand mounts. You guys are so funny, man. All right.
By the way, we did spot AT&T using those as well. Strand mounts.
Strand mounts?
Yeah.
Terrible. I was going to ask you, Tyrone.
Mm-hmm.
Magenta Max launched a few months ago, right?
Correct.
It's a hit. People love it. And we know that T-Mobile users are very data-intensive users. So it was the perfect plan for the bright customers. Do you think the AT&T Elite Plan now, can AT&T advertise it and leverage it like against T-Mobile? Could they say, hey, T-Mobile customer, now on the AT&T network, which is the best national network, they go about their business with how they advertise it.
Yeah.
Can they specifically target the T-Mobile customer?
I think they can, Sneed. I think now them just changing the wording on their plans, which is really what they did, because you didn't really notice any big slowdown after 100 gigs anyway.
Right.
But now it can be used in marketing. So we'll see how AT&T uses this to their advantage in the short term. I don't even want to go midterm or long term. I want to see, is AT&T going to go on the marketing blitz with this? Will we see them say the Elite Plan now has fully uncapped streaming capabilities without any deprioritization? Will we see that in the short term? Remains to be seen. I mean, there's lots of open-ended questions coming now with AT&T announcing this plan.
If AT&T doesn't advertise this aggressively, this falls on deaf ears. This means nothing. You know, honestly, if I was an AT&T retail associate, if I was in sales, if I was trying to close the deal, and I'm trying to get a T-Mobile switcher, a Verizon switcher, I'm saying to them, this is the best plan on the best network in America. We have the most uniform national capacity. We have the most upgraded network. We have a FirstNet industry-leading coverage footprint. We have competitive pricing, and here is the best feature set and plan access. and we're giving you HBO Max. And if you bundle it with fiber, we're giving you 25% off of your bill. You know, like, this collection can really be used to get people converted.
Yep.
You know, I don't know many people that would use T-Mobile home internet over AT&T fiber. And I don't know many people that would use T-Mobile over AT&T nationally. So this offers a more nationally uniform network experience. And the pricing is still attractive because it's cheaper than Verizon. And generally speaking, nationally, the coverage will be better on AT&T than T-Mobile.
So you can justify the higher pay if it does.
Right.
If it does cost more with the...
They have to advertise the hell out of this, though, Tyrone, because people won't know this.
Yeah,
the SMT Nation knows this. Your viewers and subscribers know this. But
that's it.
The common person needs to be able to be like, what am I getting here? Why do you want to upsell me? What's up, Rose?
That's absolutely correct. And AT&T already publicly stated they're just going to send out... Can you hear me? They're just going to send out text messages to the already existing Elite customers. So, I mean...
Oh, they're going to text them and say, hey, your plan just got better?
Yes, that's exactly
they
what
need to. They need to send the text to people with Starter Unlimited.
Yep.
And they need to send the people, with prepaid. And they need to get in front of marketing and advertising for people that are on T-Mobile Essentials and T-Mobile Magenta and Verizon, especially Verizon. Moose, which one am I using here? I got 2 streams right now. I don't know. I'm going to kick him out. We'll get him back in here. I don't know what happened to him. Yeah, I would get out in front of the T-Mobile customer. I would get out in front of the Verizon customer. I think the Verizon one is going to be easy to take because the pricing is better and the plan access has better features. The T-Mobile one's going to be harder to beat because, Tyrone, do you know how many people commented in my video saying, I'm not leaving T-Mobile Magenta Max because I have 2 free lines with Magenta Max? Yeah. They're like, you can't beat this. I have 6 lines for $200. And I'm like, how? They're like, oh, I got free lines.
Yeah.
We got Moose back.
Woo! Just got back from the pool, dog.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, man. You were flexing on the beach, bro?
We were testing the 5G AT&T, dog.
How'd it go?
Pretty good. Pretty good. So I heard that the Tech Life channel and SMT will be releasing AT&T Stadium videos tomorrow.
I will be dropping mine tomorrow for sure.
Tyrone, you also dropping it tomorrow?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to share a couple things. So, AT&T Unlimited Elite. Sneed, we got big updates, man. We got to talk about this. By the way, you look like you got a little bit of color, man. You've been tanning or what?
I don't know. Look, every time you've seen me for like the last 3 days, Sneed got a haircut. Sneed's been tanning. What, bro?
Exactly, dog. You got a haircut. You getting ready, dog. I don't know what you're getting ready, but damn.
Bro, listen, man. When I hang around my wife, bro, I just get good youthful vibes, bro. That's all it is.
Okay, so, man, this Elite upgrade. I call it an Elite upgrade, dog.
It is an upgrade.
I see it as an upgrade, and I'll tell you why. A lot of people are on the starter plan. We know this as a fact. Will this entice them to get the Elite? Possibly. Because
if they know about it.
Yeah, if they know about it, exactly. A
lot of Moose, what do you think if I get on the payroll? Chuck Tech is saying they need to have me do the marketing. Thanks, Chuck Tech. Thanks, Chuck. Appreciate you, man.
That'll be really good news.
I mean,
go ahead.
How hard would it have been for AT&T to call this the Elite Plus and market it as a new unlimited plan? Why not? But that's what T-Mobile did. They called it Magenta Max, and then they went on a marketing blitz.
I think that they're going to release a Unlimited Ultra, okay? And I'll tell you why. Because if you look at the trademarks Remember what Sneed says. Watch what the carriers do, not what the carriers say. If you look at the U.S. Trademark Office, it lists out AT&T Max, AT&T Ultra, and AT&T Elite and Extra, blah, blah, blah. This was 3 years before they announced the plans. So I have a feeling that they're going to have an AT&T Unlimited Max plan.
Those were like bullets in the chamber, though, right? There was never 100% confirmation that those were going to be used.
Right.
Okay.
Right. It's just a trademark for the sake of the trademark. But the point is that they're there. They're locked and loaded.
But they didn't upsell. They didn't change pricing. Right? They did not. They did not affect. And, you know, a lot of people were talking about how the Magenta Max was uncarrier. No. Magenta Max increased pricing on the premium plan.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
That was not uncarrier.
Right.
This, you could argue, is more uncarrier because it added without increasing cost.
Yeah, but
now
then
there's no deprio. There's an increase in tethering data. There's increased
Right.
video resolution. The 40% discount to international usage. I mean, that's very uncarrier.
You didn't have to go into your My AT&T app and change your plan. This is the exact same plan.
Yeah. So that's more uncarrier than them offering Magenta Max and then increasing pricing. And then telling people if you have free lines before 2018, you don't qualify.
Mm-hmm.
That's not uncarrier.
Mm-hmm. I mean, remember, those unlimited free lines, they're not unlimited forever. We knew this for a long time.
Yeah, but it's part of their retention strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Now, I have been told that this is going to prevent a lot of T-Mobile port outs. What do I mean by that? A lot of people that switch to T-Mobile, they go to the Max plan, right? Just from hearing people on Reddit and the different comments. With this, Tyrone Sneed, I'm telling you right now, I think it's going to be a hard sell to actually get to T-Mobile now because arguably you have a larger network. You have a significantly faster LTE network in many, many areas that have upgraded towers and C-RAN. And, oh, by the way, like Sneed says, C-band is on deck. It's on deck. So if your N41 site is already congested, which there's many of those already, you guys will see, the audience will see that in a stadium, 45,000 people, it wasn't even fully maxed out capacity. Imagine, it's not even a fifth capacity. It's already congested. T-Mobile, they're done, man.
Big shout out to Abel. Thank you for the super chat. He says, yeah, AT&T should pay Sneed. You guys are going to start a campaign push.
Push, huh?
Kian says the new plans are for cloud gaming. I never heard that before.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You can use that You can use that connection for anything. But this is something that I wrote down, and this kind of ties in with what Moose was saying. I was thinking plan innovation. So T-Mobile started the uncarrier movement with their plans being completely different from the competition. Now, AT&T just narrowed that gap, and Verizon has better perks. So eventually, Verizon, they'll match too. They'll come out with a 4K unlimited plan too. So now they're going to, across the board, at least on the higher end offering, they'll be damn near equal. So the only difference now is, yeah, T-Mobile still does taxes and fees, but what will T-Mobile now do to shake it up again for them to have a favorable plan option?
You know, Tyrone brings up a good question. When all the carriers are the exact same features, right? Sneed's features from the plan.
No.
What's the differentiating factor?
Experience.
Yeah. You get a bigger network on AT&T and Verizon and a better network. So where is T-Mobile different now?
I think we got to clarify a couple of things. The term congested means a degraded quality of networking due to a lot of traffic, right? Due to high levels of network traffic. if band 41 is if you run a speed test and you get 50 megabits, I'm not necessarily calling that congested. Should it be faster? Yes. But even at 50 megabits, I mean, it's still, you could do 4K video on that. So I'm not going to say that that's congested. But I have tested it, and it has been sub 10 megabits per second. And that's getting pretty daggone close because there's not a lot of headroom there. You put a few more users on that tower site, and you got yourself trouble. We've seen N41 get congested in downtown areas where the network is crawling. And the reason why, and I'm going to highlight Carter's statement here. He says C-band will get congested. I'm going to tell you why it won't. For T-Mobile, C-band will not get congested because they're also going to have N41. For AT&T, it's not going to get congested because they do a lot of C-RAN and millimeter wave, plus they have their own fiber. For Verizon, C-band is not going to be congested. They have a ton of millimeter wave. They have a ton of CBRS. And they have 60 megahertz at onset, and then they're going to have 160, 180, 200 megahertz by year 3. So, unfortunately, I think you're wrong about that. I don't think C-band will be congested. And Verizon also does its own fiber. And they're big on small cells. So that it's very, I'm not going to say it's impossible. It is extremely unlikely that C-band will be congested on any carrier, given the circumstances that we're kind of going to be in the golden era of the renaissance of 5G.
I 100% agree with this. And
it just doesn't make sense. Like, why would C-band be congested when it's like, it's got all these things to go with it that are going to make it really fast?
And 41 is already congested. Tyrone's already seen it in El Paso. I've seen it in multiple places in Dallas and in Southern California. Sneed, you've seen it congested.
C-band will save N41 in whichever markets T-Mobile has it.
They'll do load balancing.
Yeah.
But with that said, Sneed, you bring up a good point. No more congestion potentially in the 5G era, and they can further densify. I mean, now, me and Moose talked about this 2 years ago, and at AT&T, they ran an analysis internally. How do they monetize? That's going to be the name of the game in the 5G era now. If you run around at 3 p.m. in the afternoon and you can pull 800 megabits a second with your normal traffic, you got to monetize that speed somehow. That's entirely too much speed on air.
I will pay a dedicated $10 per month add-on on my personal line for QCI 6 hotspot data at 100 gigs per month. I want dedicated. I want like a network slice. I want sub 5 millisecond ping. I want guaranteed speed. I want guaranteed QCI. I will pay an add-on to my pre-existing bill to have that dedicated network slice. These carriers can monetize everything. They can monetize gaming sessions.
Everything.
They can monetize all forms of IoT. I don't care. I will pay for good stuff. If I'm going to go out and eat a steak, what kind of steak you like, Tyrone? What's your cut?
I like a good T-bone myself, man.
Okay, what's so great about a T-bone? It's a fillet, right? Yeah. It's like 2 parts of a steak. It's a great steak. Yep. If somebody could sell you a T-bone for $20 and one for $30, isn't that $30 T-bone going to be amazing and better than the $20 T-bone?
Yep.
I'm willing to pay a little extra to get the best. I'm not cheap. And I'm not saying I'm rich. I just prioritize certain things as being important to me. So I'm willing to pay for the premier or the premium offer. If that stuff doesn't matter to me, then I'm going to Mint Mobile. Or I'm going to some other prepaid or MVNO where the priority just doesn't matter. For anybody who's in the live chat that says, oh, I don't care about that, it's perfectly fine. We'll put you at the bottom QCI. We'll put you at the bottom priority, and you can get your plan access at the cost that you want.
They will worry about the QCI when they're in a busy mall or a busy airport or a game, like the game like in the Mexico game as an example, right? And their phone is not prioritized high enough against the crowd. That's when they wish and hope.
Yeah, but
you
they
know?
could have maybe they don't get a 5 millisecond latency. Maybe they don't get
What about
the
100
fast lane
plus?
access.
What about 100 plus? See, that's possible. You can
That's
manipulate.
rough, bro.
You can manipulate the ping times. You can manipulate the QCI.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but at that point you're forcing that customer into a newer plan. Now, that would be something where the FCC might get involved. But I think now with this new added capacity, I think people that are on QCI 9 are not going to have that bad of a time.
Big shout out to Marc. Thank you for the super chat.
In times of congestion is when the deprioritization is supposed to kick in. If there is no congestion, your network is supposed to flow as normal. So with this added C-band and all this other stuff, if the customer is given access to that network, I mean, even on QCI 9, you're going to be doing 200-300 megs easily.
You know what I would actually like to see? I would actually like to see speed boosting. Situational speed boosting.
Mm-hmm.
So you remember
when
Dish was talking about fast lanes of usage and how, like, depending on the speeds you get, right? So, like, let's say I want a moment of speed, a burst of speed for a certain task. I'm about to upload an SMT video while I'm downtown in the CLE. And I need to get on QCI 6 to get that speed. Otherwise, I'd be on QCI 8 and I'd be deprioed. Maybe my data for that session might be viewed as premium and a little bit more expensive. But I would pay for it at the end of the month because it's postpaid service. They would say, okay, Mr. Sneed, your tier 1 data was 5 gigabytes. Your tier 2 data was 50 gigabytes. Your tier 3 data was 100 gigabytes. Your bill for the month is $47.68. There is a rate for each tier of data. I like that too. I swear I like that. I'm perfectly fine with that. Because what if my tier 3 data is cheap as hell? And then my tier 2 data is a little bit more expensive and the tier 1 is a premium offer. Per gig or something like that, it's like, $1 more per gig or something. I'm good with that too. But
you're describing like electricity rates in California. They have a tier 1, 2, 3, 4. And depending on which tier you end up in, you pay a different kilowatt hour per kilowatt hour. You know what I mean? Like a different rate.
I'm just throwing out some ideas as to how I wouldn't mind being charged. If 90% of my data is on the cheap rate, I'm getting a great deal. That 10% is on some premium tiers of usage, that's cool too. I don't mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to be on the El Cheapo stuff, you can do that. It's there for you. Yeah. And the carriers, bro. Like, I'm not okay. So I'm a consumer advocate. So are you, Moose. So are you, Tyrone. Mm-hmm. But I don't care if the carriers make money if I'm willing to pay it and I view it as fair.
Yeah, it's your choice. It's crazy. We're just here casually having this conversation. Every carrier's executive teams right now are behind closed doors in heated discussions about the same stuff. How do we monetize this connection? I guarantee it.
Like I was saying, later this year, we've gotten confirmation from various technicians, sources. AT&T is going to increase their fiber, wireline connection to 2 gig, right, Sneed? 5 gig options, 10 gig options, right? Imagine if the 2 gig or 5 gig option gives you ultra low latency, like under 1 ms ping, or maybe even the nanosecond ping, approaching nanosecond. Are you, Sneed, willing to pay $100 a month for 2 gig of up and down? That's monetizing the network.
Fixed wireless or fiber?
Fiber, dog. Fiber.
2 gig symmetrical, $100?
$100.
I'll do it.
It's possible.
Would you do 150 or 160 for 5 gig?
I don't have a use case for it.
Let's say hypothetically you did. Would you do it?
So my brother-in-law, he would be a use case for that, and he told me he would pay for that.
He would pay day one. Upgrade $100 more a month.
Yeah, he said he needed that yesterday.
Wow.
I gave him that same scenario. I remember I think the most he can get is gig symmetrical. He said he would pay double for double the speeds.
Mm.
Now, let me ask you this. So, Tyrone, we have places like El Paso, right?
Yeah.
That they are getting fiber, right? And, the folks there, I don't know if they'll pay for $100 a month for 2 gigs.
Well, I mean, it'll be there for an option, right? It's always an option. If you want it, it's there. If not, then don't get it.
I mean, Sneed, man, I'll be honest with you. I have no need for 2 gigs.
Right.
Not at all. But if that 2 gigs gave a guarantee that the ping times would be reduced significantly, yes. You know how, so I'll give you a perfect example.
The gaming piece is really important when it comes to that.
I'll give you a perfect example. Everybody knows that the Business Elite Plan, right, has this thing called Business Fast Track, which is the QCI 6 enabler, right? QCI 6, for people that don't know, it's rated at 4 times the speed of the traditional QCI 8, right? So when Sneed is saying that he wants a burst of speed, there is an app that you can download called Business Fast Track that you activate it if you're on the right plan, and it will activate QCI 6 for a shortened period of time. Unfortunately, though, it's not available for consumers, right? But I've been saying this since 2016, 2017, Sneed. If you allow people to pay for stuff a la carte, they'll do it. Like another announcement that I don't know if you guys mentioned this week is that the international plans for AT&T, they're capping it at $100 extra a month, but you get up to 30 days, right, Sneed? Up to 30 days of unlimited data anywhere in the world for $100.
It's really incredible. It's like having your United States access wherever you're going.
Now, people are going to say, "Oh, well, T-Mobile is going to give me unlimited, 3G speeds anywhere in the world." Yeah, but that's 3G speeds.
It's 2G.
Oh, it's 2G speeds. I'm sorry, 2G speeds. Yeah. But there are grandfathered international plans, right, that offer you 3G speeds or slightly faster.
I think they'll give you whatever the country can offer, that roaming agreement.
Mm-hmm.
But to a set amount. I don't know if it's 2 gigs or 5 gigs or something.
I think and
it's only certain countries. They don't have all the partnerships.
Yeah, they don't. The best roaming agreement they have, of course, we all know is the one with Deutsche Telekom in Germany. I mean, that one's damn near unlimited, and you can.
Yeah, you basically go there. It's like the same thing you're getting here. Yeah.
Correct. Other than that, it's at the discretion of what the carrier offers that they have the partnership with.
So that's in Netherlands. That's in Germany, right? Deutsche Telekom, right?
Austria.
Yeah.
Austria,
right?
Does it have it? Do they have it in Hungary or no?
I don't think so.
No. They don't have Deutsche Telekom in England, France, Italy. The big countries, Belgium.
They might have Belgium.
But I know.
I think they're getting into Belgium. I think that's what they were talking about on the market day.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to get into Belgium.
So it's interesting, right? So like Deutsche Telekom, just give you an equivalent. T-Mobile USA is like AT&T Mexico, the equivalent. And then when you go to the home country, which is Germany for T-Mobile and the US for AT&T, you're using the exact same network as if you've never left.
All right, so let's call a spade a spade. T-Mobile sets the stage with Magenta Max. AT&T responds. There's a couple things that are better about the AT&T plan than the Magenta Max. The Magenta Max is a little bit cheaper because they include taxes and fees. So there is that little bit of distinguishable, monetarily speaking. Does Verizon respond, Moose? First of all, do they need to? And then second of all,
I've been talking with Tyrone. I've been talking with you, Sneed. I've been saying that, and I know Tyrone's been saying this. You've been saying this, Sneed. Verizon is going to have another bad quarter. Because there's no way that in one quarter the economy has fixed itself. I mean, we have record inflation right now. Bills are costing more. The grocery bills are costing more. Where are people going to save money? By switching to a carrier. And which carrier are they going to save the most money? Technically, right now, it's T-Mobile because of the taxes and fees are included. Right? Mm-hmm. But if you have one of those 25% offs, or if you have AT&T Fiber, if you have 25% off option, AT&T might be even cheaper. But to answer the question flat out, are they going to respond? I think that they've now been forced to respond, Sneed. 2 out of the 3 carriers, and I'm pretty sure Dish is going to have an fully unlimited option as well. They have to respond.
What do you think, Tyrone?
I think I've had people message me today upset that Verizon hasn't responded yet within the first 24 hours. I was like, hey, wait a minute. I think Verizon needs some time to assess the situation first. I think they need to see first, they're going to monitor the port outs. Are the port outs spiking?
So you're saying that how this next quarter turns out is what Verizon will respond to?
I think this quarter that they're about to share the numbers to is already done. So this quarter, they're going to monitor. I think they're going to monitor. I don't think they wait the whole quarter. I think if the port outs, if customers start leaving left and right, then I think they look at it and they say, okay, guys, we may need to respond to this. If they don't respond, then AT&T and T-Mobile will have marketing material against Verizon that Verizon can't market the same. They just don't have a plan of that magnitude right now. And then if you look at the plan as it stands, if you want a option on Verizon to get that 40 megabits a second, I think it is, to get that 1080p or 4K streaming, that's an additional $10. They're already more expensive now, I think by $5.
Yeah.
You add that plus additional 10, I mean, they're even more expensive. So yeah. I think Hans is in a tough spot right now.
They got to get more C-band. Well, I should rephrase that. They need to get more CBRS out there. They need more millimeter wave, and they need the C-band. Yep. They're operating with less spectrum than the other two. And if you notice, even with their incredible tower density, they have the most customers on their network with a postpaid account.
Yes.
And that matters because those are the higher access plans. And yep. Verizon customers don't technically use more data than any other carrier. It's just the sheer number. It's 130 million postpaid accounts, or 130 million postpaid subscribers, versus T-Mobile, which is probably at 106 million now, and AT&T is probably at 103 million maybe. My point is that this is going to continue to be a problem until that spectrum goes national, and then they can address plans and access.
Yeah. The thing is, can they wait that long? And that's why I think they're going to monitor. If they start seeing port outs spike, then they will likely have no chance but to respond and take the hit on the network.
Tyrone, are people... So this is the bottom line. Are people leaving Verizon because of pricing or competitor plans are better? Which one is it?
I think the access is better.
If the answer is pricing, then the plan access has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I think. Well, the perks will matter for Verizon, and that's why I think Hans went out to that conference in Sun Valley, and I think he got another partnership, and I think they're going to announce that very soon. So
Media
I think
partnership?
there was some media there. There was some other partners there. I don't know what he went towards. He said he wanted to bring some variety in that CNBC interview, so we'll see. But I think he's cooking up some additional perk being added into the higher end unlimited plans. People have commented on my video and they've said that they don't care about the perk; they want the access. So,
but that is Tyrone. That is Tech Life Channel's viewer.
Yeah.
What is the average consumer saying?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I wish we could go out on the street. I think you should do that one day, Sneed. Just go downtown and just start asking random people and get it on camera.
Ask 10 people.
Yep.
What QCI does your wireless plan have? 10 out of 10 people. What? They're like, what'd you call me? QCI, who's that? Oh, man.
No, that's true.
Danny says he left because of price and slow data. Verizon doesn't treat their customers good either. Man, that's a triple whammy right there.
Triple. Yeah. But don't get me wrong, Sneed. I like the access, but I also like the perks Verizon got. They got some pretty good perks now. I mean, that's hard to let go.
The perks are good. If you use the ESPN Plus, the Disney Plus, you know, and the Hulu, I mean, it's big time because you're paying 15, 16, 17, 18 bucks for that if you want that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then when you build that into the pricing model, it's not bad because you could have, like if you have 4 lines, you could have 2 on starter and you could have, you know, 2 on the Get More, and you would have all those perks, the media perks, and your bill would be the same as somebody who has like 2 AT&T Elites, a Plus, and a starter. You know? Like, you can mix and match the plans with these 2 carriers. You know, isn't it true that with it would be you would have to go all Magenta Max if you wanted to have Magenta Max on T-Mobile, all your lines?
Correct. Yeah, they still have them mix and match. So that's a tough decision too. Do you want your 8-year-old, or do you need your 8-year-old to be on the Magenta Max? You know, I wish they did have that mix and match. You know, because on Verizon you can put them on the starter or the kids plan, and it's cheaper.
I don't know what you were saying, so I'm going to take it as an insult. Telling you, man, people don't know QCI talk. They don't even know DPRIO. Like, if I was to walk up to a Verizon customer, 90% of them, hey, how's the deprioritization on your network? What? Be like, Snapchat's cool, it works fine. Facebook, you know, Messenger's good. I got Instagram's good. You know, and a lot of these video apps, Tyrone, they're like 480p.
Yeah, most of them.
You know, most twerking is not in HD. You know,
no,
so
sir. It sure isn't.
Did I just say that on my live stream, bro?
Yeah. You're not
I'm
kidding.
gonna have to put that. I'm gonna have to put that into a clip, bro. I'm gonna have to do it. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Hashtag. Somebody find a hashtag for that.
That booty is not in HD.
It is not HD. Oh my goodness, man. That TikTok. All right. Yeah. Well, I think we did a pretty good job of discussing that. Let's talk the open signal report. We'll get through this pretty quick. Okay.
What does it say, Sneed?
What's that?
The open signal report.
Okay, the open signal report. I got the numbers. What the hell did I do with the numbers? Oh, here they are. Okay. Categories. T-Mobile 1, 2. 5G download speed, 5G upload speed. This is all about 5G, okay? The quality categories went to the other 2 carriers. Verizon got 5G video experience and they shared it with AT&T. I'm not surprised. The video playback over 5G is most definitely better on AT&T and Verizon. And I would say on LTE 100% that's the same. All right. 5G gaming and video experience, video app experience went to Verizon. Voice app went to Verizon as well. The metrics, the actual numbers, the data, T-Mobile downlink speed 87.5, Verizon 52.3, AT&T 52.3. Clearly, the N41 is scaling. They're doing a good job of upgrading towers as fast as humanly possible. It's really about just more and more and more. We need more sites upgraded, okay? The uplink speed is weird. 5G upload speed, T-Mobile was 15.1, Verizon was 14.2. That's really close, right? Because Verizon doesn't have dedicated spectrum to channels. They're DSSing all things 5G, with the exception of the millimeter wave. AT&T at 8.8, very disappointing. So they're the only single digits upload. Here's what I was saying on the Patreon live stream. T-Mobile's tower density is the reason why Verizon is so close in uplink. There is no reason why Verizon should be that close. T-Mobile, sometimes I do a speed test and the uplink's like 80, 90, 100 megabits. But when you get to the edge cell, it's crawling. It's like 1 or 2 megabits. Meanwhile, because Verizon has such a tight tower grid, the uplink's always 20 or 30. Even as you move towards like their edge, it's still like 10 or 15. So you've got a bunch of these really high uplink tests for T-Mobile and then a bunch of these really low ones. Meanwhile, Verizon's more uniform because of that tower grid. There's no reason why Verizon should be so close to T-Mobile there. That's concerning. And I know it's not going to change because Neville wants a macro-based network. They're avoiding the grind. They refuse to embrace the grind. They don't want to do more small cells. They want to decrease their tower grid as much as possible. It's really about spending less money. They're cheaping out and they're trying to find the most cost-effective way. But at the sacrifice of performance and the experience of their customers. You know what I'm saying? Like you can save money. I'm not telling them not to find ways to become more cost-effective, but not at the call drop-offs, I can't mobile live stream, these types of things is a problem. I don't know. You guys know I'm big on small cells. I'm big on millimeter wave. I'm big on densification. I don't see how the T-Mobile network truly improves that type of a metric without densifying. I think a macro-based approach is fine in 4G and LTE, but not in the 5G era and not in the 6G era. That's foolish. They're going to regret that. It's going to come back to haunt them.
Yeah, 100% Sneed. You are right. And that's going to come back to bite them in the behind, man.
T-Mobile millimeter wave averaging 312 megabits. Verizon averaging 618. I didn't get the data for AT&T. I don't know. It's not in my notes.
So on the performance for millimeter wave, AT&T was slower in the speeds, but they had more millimeter wave deployed on the percentage availability. I looked at it over and over again. I don't know what to make of it. I know AT&T, they'll deploy more of that millimeter wave, so I don't think that'll be a problem in the future.
You guys are crazy. How bad? I'll bet. Thanks for the super chat. The OnlyFans in 4K. Yeah, 240p Verizon's going to be trouble, man.
Yeah.
I'll bet you're crazy, bro.
Damn.
AT&T has been putting... Huh? I know, man. The OnlyFans. Cody says AT&T's been putting up tons of small cells where I am. We've been seeing that in a lot of different cities.
Yeah. And they're going to continue doing that, by the way, too. I mean,
in my neighborhood, we got 10 CRAN
they started this Monday, 2 days ago,
Wow.
and I'll tell you, it's a intense process. You have to put a concrete base, right? Just like a cell site, right? Concrete base has to harden and everything like that. And then, after that, you put a new pole, right? A new light pole with the antenna equipment on the top. And they have actually two different versions, Sneed and Tyrone. Two different versions. One of them is a Pico Cell, which is supposed to be just for like the street level, right? And then they have a slightly larger version, which I'm pretty sure you guys are going to remember this one. It's like a long black pole uniform, right? And that has the ability for multiple carrier bands, 2, 4, 5,
all the
66.
stuff.
Yeah, it's fully loaded, loaded, and band 12 and band 14.
Get you all the coverage,
right?
The
so the slightly larger, so it's a Pico and then like a micro, right, version. The micro is supposed to be rated for like 7 blocks, dude. That's
really?
a huge, that's pretty big,
because it's got those lower bands on there, right?
Correct. The Pico is supposed to be probably like 2 to 3 blocks.
Still pretty good.
Yeah.
That's going to be AT&T's MO for the next few years. I mean, their C-RAN deployment, many are saying they have better engineering behind it in terms of the RAN team, and they're going to go. AT&T is going to go really deep on that deployment. I mean, it's going to be scary. A lot of people are saying it's going to be scary what AT&T is going to do with that deployment.
I've been speaking to a couple of different engineers over the last few months, T-Mobile engineers, AT&T engineers, and Verizon engineers, and I'm getting the impression AT&T has the best engineering when it comes to small cells and new technologies on macros. But they also tell me, these same engineers, they tell me that Verizon, because of their willingness to spend on wireless for so long and in the future, they also believe in the Verizon engineering simply because when they do everything, they do it all. They do it a lot, right? Like they do large scale. Like they go into a market and it's an entire small cell initiative. It's an entire millimeter wave initiative, meaning they don't do anything small. They do everything big, right? I've also heard from T-Mobile engineers that they are dying for small cells. They need millimeter wave, right? So they want to do these things, but again, it's not part of the CapEx plan, right? Macros, we're going to keep this, bring the cost down as much as possible.
And we'll see in the videos tomorrow the consequences of an all macro based network, right? Consequences. Yeah. There are consequences.
Moose, this is a preview for everybody. All right. 133 in the live chat. Whoever watched this on replay, I got a video up and coming. I did a hospital speed test session, Speed with Sneed, at the local area hospital here, one of them. There's a dozen or so hospital systems in the CLE. And one of the carriers failed. They actually legit failed. It wouldn't connect. And I don't want to spoil the fun and tell you who it was, but all I'm going to say to you is, just in case, go and test your carrier at your local area hospital and make sure that it works there. Because that would be a rude awakening if you're at the hospital and you can't even connect. Moose, it would not connect.
Did it surprise you?
After watching Carlos's videos, no.
Tyrone, would it surprise you?
Not at all. I mean, the evidence is there. We've seen the proof.
I mean, there were a couple surprising things. Otherwise, there's a couple of things that are good, and there's a couple of things that are really bad. I can't wait to put out the video because I think it's going to be an eye opener. Let's just put it this way: the best carrier had two things: indoor DAS and outdoor DAS.
Oh wow, Verizon? Wow. Damn.
And when I mean like capacity, I'm talking 300 megabits capacity on LTE. 300. I mean, I wish I could have accessed the service mode just to see what it was that was doing it all. It was so freaking fast. And it's DAS.
And see, I think that's where the engineers are coming from that you're speaking with, Sneed. They're like, there's no amount of engineering that can overpower a DAS outside and a DAS inside. That's just pure money that's being spent here. So they're gonna win in that regard because they're spending so heavily. They future plan correctly, and they just go after it, man. They're like, look, we want to be the best. We got traffic here. Let's put a DAS inside. Let's put a DAS outside.
It was so bad. Like the tests were failing from one of the carriers. Like just disconnect. DAS is it's essentially a dedicated access system for like a carrier. So say for example, AT&T has an indoor DAS at a hospital. They put together a network of access points that are connected for their particular customers, right? It's their private network within the hospital. So any dead spots within the hospital, they put the access points, and they use regular carrier bands, don't they, Moose? Like it'll be like 266.
Yeah, they usually do band 2.
Yeah.
For the RAN team people, they're gonna like this distributed antenna system, right? So you have a lot of little tiny antennas, every floor, every room, all centralized in one server room type looking thing. And they're upgradable, the antenna equipment is upgradable, millimeter wave, if you need millimeter wave, band 2 primarily, right, to avoid any interference with hospital equipment, band 66, some cases band 14, right, for the first responders need, and millimeter wave.
The band 14 has the high power user equipment option too, so that'll work great.
And in the outdoor DAS, oh man, outdoor DAS, you can put anything you want, man. Band 2, 66,
LAA.
30, LA. Oh my God, yeah, LAA. Yeah. It's all interchangeable, whichever one you need at the time or whichever one you need for the particular moment. Like, for example, in a stadium, right, you have a DAS system. You can put millimeter wave or you can put LTE bands. Either way, you're going to be getting 500 plus.
No, you do both. Plus. You do both.
Yeah.
Yeah, not everybody has a millimeter wave phone, so you do both. You're already deploying the antennas anyways. Hey, it's Alex says, at our local hospitals, all 3 major carriers had DAS in our hospitals except T-Mobile. However, now it works good because they took over Sprint's Dash. That may not be there much longer. I'm not joking. They may take down all that Sprint DAS. Seriously, they might.
Yeah, we got it here at our hospitals. The only one that had DAS in there was Sprint, Verizon, and I think now AT&T too. So T-Mobile had no DAS systems in any of the hospitals. In this case, the issues they're dealing with, it would be foolish for T-Mobile to remove those DAS systems from Sprint. They could greatly utilize those if they can upgrade them with their equipment. But, they could be taken down. You're all right, Sneed.
Wait a minute. Is this true? The guy who was anti-DAS in T-Mobile was Dave Marc. He left for Dish. I wonder if different people in the system will do different things with DAS. No, they're Ryan. They're pretty much standing by it, dude. Neville came out and said they're trying to be macro based. So,
I don't think that T-Mobile was ever anti-DAS, because if you are into engineering, you have to. DAS has to be somewhere on your plan because
small cells too.
Yeah, small cells too. T-Mobile just didn't have the money to deploy the DAS systems where they were needed.
Well, that's a different situation. that's the expenditure. You're basically putting up the white flag and saying, according to our budget, we just can't afford it.
Correct. We got priorities, other priorities that could help us furthermore than that DAS system. Like I could put up 2 towers in the middle of nowhere.
But one could argue that there is no more priority than a hospital scenario.
Correct. You know,
we say that we have first responders, right?
Yeah.
They got a first responder plan now.
But Sneed, here's the issue. Each market, whether you're Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, has a finite amount of budget, right? So let's say Dallas, or let's say Los Angeles, right? Or let's say New York. Let's say New York. It's the number 1 market in terms of population, right? For all the carriers, right? They only have enough money to do X, Y, and Z priorities per year. And then with C-band coming in, or with N41 coming in, they have to budgetize, okay, which antenna, which macros are going to be upgraded. And then from those macros is every sector needing the N41 upgrade, right? Some sectors might not be taking full advantage of the capabilities, so not every sector might be prioritized. But a good engineering team would say, no. We need band 41 in every single sector, not just the ones that are congested. So the issue is that one DAS system could cost the upgrades of 10 cell sites or more, or it could cost, 30 CRAN. It's $200,000 minimum now, for a DAS.
See, I think within T-Mobile, I think there's a local RAN engineer that says, hey, we're going to need this, this, and that. I think there's somebody that's above that guy's position that's telling him, like, no, you're going to do this, this, and this. You're not going to do that, that, and that. I really think that's what's transpiring within the local areas, that they're telling them, hey, you're going to upgrade all these macros before you do anything else. I don't care what it is.
Do you guys remember that story that I told you guys in 2016 about the 3 macros in LAX?
Yep.
Don't you think that it would have been better to have a DAS system?
Correct.
Than macros, right?
Absolutely.
It would have been better DAS, correct. But to do a DAS, it would cost $500,000. No, it would cost probably $3 million, that DAS for LAX, versus 3 macro sites that cost maybe $1 million total.
They're cutting corners. Corners.
That's right.
Raising the white flag, selling wolf tickets.
Hashtag wolf tickets, man. The realization, and Ryan was talking about Dave Mayo. I think when Dave Mayo was at T-Mobile, that may have been 8 years ago. That's John Leisure era. He may even predate. He may be a voice stream guy. I don't even know. But yeah. God. And Dish will be a primarily macro-based network. They said that they're trying to do it with $10 billion over 7 years.
Yeah, we ain't getting no DAS systems out of them.
They'll be on T-Mobile for 7 years, but there's still no DAS on them.
No, there's no DAS on them.
They might have to do something with Verizon and AT&T.
Yeah.
And
DAS systems seem to have become a priority for AT&T and Verizon. If there's a new hotel that's coming out, a big one, Verizon and AT&T are at the forefront with DAS systems. T-Mobile's like, nah, we'll try to beam this macro closest, and we'll try to beam some signal in there and see what we can do. Maybe the hotel will have Wi-Fi. That's good. That's kind of how they're approaching it.
MPT says, did you see that T-Mobile is no longer offering the repeaters to the cell spots? Now they're $99. I don't want people using my bandwidth for my internet. I know they're short range, but no thanks. Yeah, they're charging now, buddy.
Gotta make some profit. Giving all those free lines away. But even at that, I think Moose mentioned that to me. He's like, even at $99, they're probably still not making any money, because the equipment probably cost them more to make or manufacture.
Which carrier do I think will have the best mid-band 5G in the next few years? Whichever carrier deploys the most sites with C-band. That's my answer.
Wait, the next 5 years, or how many years we talking? Like 2?
He says the next few years.
I think it's going to probably be Verizon.
Yeah, whoever densifies C-band the most.
But it's also going to be dependent on the market, right? Because not every carrier is evenly 33%, right, Sneed? Remember we talked about this, right? Mm-hmm. It really depends on where they deploy it and how fast they deploy it. But
to answer the whole $99 thing about, T-Mobile, I would much rather utilize my 1 gig connection. I don't need a gig, Sneed. I really don't. But if I could provide cell phone service to T-Mobile customers, Verizon customers, AT&T customers, to whichever carrier I'm on, it would benefit the community. If you have excess capacity, of course.
Yep.
But at least you have an option, right? At least you have an option. Some carriers, they don't have an option, right?
Yeah. That is true.
I just wanted to give everybody kind of a PSA. If you are a Mint Mobile customer, apparently there has been a targeted attack by hackers. Please go into your account and make sure you change your password. You may have had some of your personal information jeopardized. They were saying that names, addresses, email addresses, specific phone numbers, passwords, bill amounts, account numbers, a lot of that may have been compromised. This info was forwarded to another carrier as well. So I don't know. It happened between 3 days, between June 8th and June 10th. The best action is to just go in, manually change your password, monitor your account to make sure everything is on the up and up. But hopefully you don't use your Mint login password, for any other passwords on any other platform.
So it seems like Deadpool got hacked.
Deadpool, yeah, hashtag Deadpool hack.
Deadpool hack. Mint hack.
Yeah, that's terrible. That sucks. Yeah, so, big shout out to Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds, and, hopefully you guys can make that correction if it affects you. Yeah, I don't even know who's putting a lot of personal information on a prepaid account? Like, if I'm signing up for a prepaid account, my name's Tony Stark, or Eugene.
But Sneed, a lot of people, they're just regular consumers, Sneed, man. They're just regular consumers.
Yeah.
They don't know any better.
I mean, hell, I make my name Gilgamesh. I don't care, bro.
Ahmed.
Another thing that I learned a trick. You know how you have to put an address for prepaid accounts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just put the address of the store, whether that's a Walmart store or Mint Mobile, random address. Dude, easy.
Hey, whoever the PR person is for light reading, they let Mike Dana release that article, they should be fired.
All right. We got to talk about this. Big shout out to Dave Eastak. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate all your support, and thank you for reminding us about this. All right. This statement that it's time to what was the exact wording, Tyrone? It was like time to bury the whole millimeter wave thing.
Yeah, he was basing it off of that it's been in deployment for 3 years now, and it's barely seeing any usage availability.
All right. Okay, so millimeter wave from Verizon was deployed in May of 2019. So that would make it, 2 years and a couple of months?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not 3 years. That's the first problem. The second problem is that people are just now getting out and starting to use millimeter wave. Like literally in the last month. Like summer started in June. People are taking vacations. The whole entire eastern part of the U.S. and the beaches in New Jersey and New York and Virginia Beach and all that, they've got millimeter wave. It's starting to scale a little bit. It's in 75 markets. We're getting 5G home now in like 40 some markets for Verizon. Now it's starting to gain some traction. It's still going to need time to build. Whoever wrote that, number one, it's inaccurate, and number two is it's short-sighted. You know, Verizon has already come out and said, we want 50% of our urban traffic on millimeter wave. Nothing's going to stop them from doing that.
Nope,
they said that that's what they want to do. You look at the way they're scaling millimeter wave, you have to imagine they're serious about doing that, right, Tyrone?
Yep, very serious.
Okay. T-Mobile says that they're gonna put them on macros. They're gonna do it too as they need it. So AT&T is doing it with their C-RAN. I'm not really sure what the basis was for this statement or this article. The most effective research that I found on millimeter wave was that the more you use it, the more effective your capacity build becomes and the more cost effective it is. So it's, regardless of your personal feelings against millimeter wave, the research is that it helps with the efficiency in providing capacity. It's the ultimate capacity layer. There's no more effective way to add capacity.
Yeah.
Whether it's at a stadium or inside an arena, or if you're using it for home fixed wireless access. It works in a lot of applications, more so than we initially thought. And it finds its way in places we don't expect. Like when Carlos went inside that restaurant and it worked from outside into the restaurant. It's not supposed to, but it did. And people are mad about that. Why? I don't know.
Yeah. Couldn't give you an answer. Maybe they're upset that they can't get it where they're at. I don't know.
How are you going to keep the mid-band clear?
Same thing's going to happen with C-band, Sneed.
How you gonna keep mid-band clear? Mid-band will be congested without millimeter wave.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me if a T-Mobile N41 site starts to slow down, if they fill up each sector with a millimeter wave node, that's not going to help? It's got to help.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, even T-Mobile on that small example. I mean, Verizon, they're talking about putting up a node every other block and using a repeater.
I mean, Sneed, we got confirmation from our sources in T-Mobile that millimeter wave will be added to every macro on top of C-band and N41.
See, here's the problem, bro. Darian, you want 200 plus megabits? You need millimeter wave. Mid-band will get congested. Millimeter wave will keep that from happening. So if you want 200 megabits on your phone, you need millimeter wave. Mid-band gets congested. Millimeter wave channels are like 400, 800 megahertz.
Yep.
The mid-band channels right now, the widest we got is 100. What do you mean you don't want to? It's not about getting a gig on your phone. It's about always having capacity so you never slow down. I think there's a lot of people that are a little bit misguided on what type of speed they need versus capacity that's enough for everyone.
Yeah.
When you go to an NFL game, it's not about getting gigabit speed on a speed test. It's about you never getting throttled. It's about you not having a congested network and not being able to upload your video.
Sneed, I got to comment on this. So I didn't take a video, and I wish I did. But I was already talking to Tyrone about this. I told you about this. What happens when millimeter wave is congested? I finally have figured it out, Sneed, that it can get congested, but not in the same way as mid-band or low-band. 200 Mbps is congested for millimeter wave. 200! Damn, that's still a lot of speed, Sneed.
200 is congested.
Yeah, 200. Okay, so let me give you a backstory. This weekend, right? AT&T Stadium, right? Testing T-Mobile, testing AT&T, testing FirstNet, right? The videos are coming out tomorrow. SMT already mentioned it. Tyrone already mentioned it. Millimeter wave was the primary connection. And in the outdoor DAS, in the parking lot, people were grilling, etc. But it was congested. And then we were like, what are you talking about? It's congested. Yeah, 200 Mbps is congested.
How is that congested?
It's congested, and I'll tell you why. Because that site is able, or the outdoor DAS is able to do 1.8 minimum Mbps, gigabits. Sorry, 1.8 gigabits.
So how's it congested?
Because 200 is, in my opinion, congested for millimeter wave. Remember, this is millimeter wave. To you, you're like, are you crazy or on crack or something? I'm like, no.
Okay, all right.
I mean, it's significantly
We need to
loaded.
set up some definitions here. 200 megabits per second is not congested. 50 megabits per second is not congested. 10 megabits per second is not congested. If the network is fully loaded and there's hundreds, thousands of people on a site and you're still getting those speeds, it is not congested.
But it's on millimeter wave, Sneed.
You mean to tell me that we're not going to be getting hardware and we're not going to be seeing tower site upgrades that are going to get more bandwidth?
I mean, of course, the backhaul will definitely increase. The channels will widen. There's going to be more millimeter wave spectrum. But you're telling me right now that
I don't understand.
Okay,
how in the world are you going to explain to me that 200 megabits is congested? I'm lost, bro.
So you said 50 is not congested.
It is
20
not
is not
congested.
congested. 10 is
No.
not congested. But it's
No.
on millimeter wave, Sneed.
If you are doing HD video on your device, it is not congested. And those speeds are going to achieve that. 50 megabits is going to get you 4K. How is that congested?
Because
Now, if you hold on, if you add 100 users, now it's congested.
But no,
if
but there's
that's what
already
you're doing.
there's already thousands of people.
Well, then it's holding up. I can't agree with your
right.
explanation.
But keep in mind this too. So it's not just millimeter wave. This is why I say it's congested. Okay, because I might just have high standards for millimeter wave.
You do.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think, and I'm going to say this, I have high standards because the SMT has showed me what's really possible with millimeter wave. And that's...
Yeah, but I've showed you 4 gigs.
Exactly.
4 gigs would be getting... 4 gigs is double your starting point. You said you were starting at 1.8 gigs.
So that means that if there was, let's say 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people in the parking lot, all of them that had millimeter wave capabilities were using millimeter wave capabilities. That's a significant drop from 1.8 to 200. But here's the thing. On LTE, it was still doing 500. Because
And
of
why?
LAA.
And why?
I honestly...
Why was the LAA still doing 500 megs?
Because there's less people connected to the LTE. And wait, there's one more layer. Hold on. There's one more layer.
basically millimeter wave is an Avenger.
Right.
It's the Hulk. It's Captain America. It's Iron Man. It's Tony Stark. They're coming to save the day. They're Avengers.
There's one more layer that I didn't mention, Sneedman and Tyrone. There was also Wi-Fi free to anybody.
Very nice.
AT&T Wi-Fi free to anybody.
Very smart.
And the
Very
Wi-Fi minimum was doing 500 down. So,
Very
dude,
nice.
we have multiple layers. We have LTE 2, 4, 5, 6.
But that's redundancy in the
Right.
network. That's beautiful.
Yeah, there's basic. But remember that ODAS and indoor DAS is supposed to hold 150,000 people because of how many people go to a Dallas Cowboys game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, 45,000 people for a Mexico game was nothing. I mean, you'll see, guys, on the videos tomorrow. 700 on LTE. I've never seen that before in my life.
I have.
700.
I have.
Without CBRS needed. Without
no, I
CBRS.
haven't.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
haven't.
That's why I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, like holy shit.
Big shout out to Davies Tech. $2 super chat. When do you think we'll see millimeter wave on $300 phones? I think next year. I think 2022. It'll probably be some form of Google phone, I think, or Moto. They'll have like some Verizon. It'll be like $349. I don't think it'll be $300. Nikki says it's about everyone getting 30 megs at a stadium. Agreed. It's about everybody having all the capacity that they require for their uses.
Absolutely right. 30 Mbps everywhere.
Yeah, dude. Nikki doesn't agree with you, Moose. He's gonna ride you for this one. He's not gonna let this one go, dog.
I have high standards, dog. I have high standards.
I don't blame you. When we think millimeter wave, we think incredible capacity.
Right.
But in my opinion, Moose, if 200, how's 200 congested? Oh yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. There was something else here.
Yeah, go ahead.
You could say there's a lot of load on the network at that point, but I don't see that as congested at all.
See, there was a period of time when I was saying to engineers, 20 Mbps on just LTE is congested.
Oh my God, Nikki T, pause, bro, pause on that one. Oh my God, I gotta get this out of here. Go ahead, Moose. Go ahead.
I was saying that there was a period of time that I was telling engineers 20 Mbps is congested, because if you add just 10 people to that, to consistently or downloading Netflix, something off of Netflix or YouTube, that's going to congest.
Yeah.
One to 2 megs is congested.
Yeah, anything under 2 is the official definition on any carrier. Anything under 2 Mbps, correct. But there's also now the next definition of, okay, am I congested in terms of my latency, right? My actual connection, right, Sneed?
Well, that's how they throttle and deprio. They use latency to achieve that.
Right.
And that makes the connection quality trash.
Mm-hmm. Visible.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Moose, I don't think we're ever gonna. Me and you agree on like 99% of stuff. This one's not happening, bro.
200 is congested.
No, and it's, of course, you think about like, well, how many millimeter wave nodes can you install on a premises, like say an NFL stadium? I mean, you could put up another node. You can offload some of the traffic, right? You can network that.
Right.
We got Moose. He's at the bottom. He doesn't have a YouTube channel. We got Tech Life to my right. I didn't want to hit the mic. He's got a YouTube channel. Check out Tech Life channel. N41 at EWR Airport slows to 50 megabits at max usage. I still consider that good. I agree. It's fine.
Oh my God, Newark Airport. I hated that airport. I'm telling you.
10 megabits on millimeter wave is congested. I mean, you kind of got a point, Dave. The expectation should be higher, but still, it's doing HD video. One time I was live streaming, and I was at a tower site, and it was a shared site, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. And T-Mobile was getting 150 megs down. Verizon was getting 15 megs down. And somebody said that the Verizon network was tanking. So you know what I did, right? I did a fast.com speed test on both. Verizon gave me 10 megs down. T-Mobile gave me 1.3 megs down. So I said, which one is more meaningful? The 15 down on Ookla or the 150 down on Ookla?
What's crazy about that, though, what David B. Tech mentioned? If a millimeter wave gets down to 10 megabits a second, the carrier is going to jump for joy, because that connection is holding so many people off of just that one connection, and they didn't have to add a single additional small cell or anything else.
I would bet you, Tyrone, that the LTE speed test would be like 100 megabits.
Yep.
Because that would mean that a lot of those people have like the iPhone 12, the Galaxy phones, like all these newer phones with millimeter wave tech.
Correct. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. You're totally right, man. They would say it's doing its work.
Yep.
The nodes would explode. Why? I think my slowest, like being directly in line of sight and having a solid, strong connection, I think the slowest I've seen on a Verizon node is like 2 gigs in the last year. Line of sight, direct connection. I've never seen it lose more than like 30% capacity. But then again, I got to get to a Browns game. I got to get to some of these other arenas, and I got to test it when these places are full. It's been a year, dude. Nobody's been doing anything. I can't wait, man. Concert series, these things are going to test it. And they're only at what? 400 megahertz of spectrum right now. I think some are doing 800. That's how we're seeing the 4 gig speed.
Yeah, and that's going to pick up eventually again.
But I'm going to tell you why the Verizon, Tyrone, you always talk about CRAN. Could you tell the people the main setup for CRAN, how it works?
Yeah, so the CRAN is the centralized RAN. For AT&T, not all of them yet have millimeter wave on them. But with Verizon's interesting because some of the CRAN have LTE accompanied. A lot of their, other small cells that they're deploying are millimeter wave only. So the only effects in that area is literally just the increase from the boost of millimeter wave. There's nothing else attached to it. But I think you've displayed that very well. Like some of your CRAN, I think in the CLE also don't have millimeter wave, but they got CBRS. So they're pushing 700-800 megabits a second, no problem. So there's definitely several different benefits to CRAN. Like Moose mentioned earlier, there's the Pico Cell, and there's several different variants. We all say hashtag no strand mounts. We don't like those.
Terrible.
Trash.
But yeah, there's definitely several different variants, and I'm sure that'll improve too as we get into the future. CRAN will get better. There'll be better technology. Eventually, millimeter wave will go to 4x4 MIMO. Right now, it's still 2x2. So there's improvements to be made. We're gonna get 1024 QAM. That's coming. I don't think any carrier has incorporated that yet. So there's plenty of headroom in all of the improvements that can be made to the macros and the small cells and the CRAN. That's why I feel that the name of the game going into 5G and throughout the whole era is going to be the monetization point.
I do hear that.
It's going to be big.
Millimeter wave speeds are going to essentially double next year.
Yes.
Right. So we're going to be seeing quite a bit of bandwidth being used and then optimized. Like it's about really pushing it. Like what made T-Mobile, well, I should say Sprint, what made Sprint's 2.5 gigahertz so special is the technologies that were starting to develop for it.
Yeah.
Right. So it was the beamforming. It was the, the antenna arrays. They were essentially doubling every generation. Yeah. Right. It was like 64, 128, 1024. Like when we start talking about all these different technologies and these antenna arrays, the throughput potential just starts to increase exponentially. You guys give it a year, the conversations we're having about millimeter wave, I mean, this is going to be incredible.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell people don't let the viewpoints of some people say, oh, millimeter wave's useless. No, it's not. I mean, it's going to be the saving grace in a lot of scenarios. I get it. Some people live in rural America and millimeter wave's not a thing for them, but 70% of the country lives in urban areas and suburban areas. And they'll be the ones that are going to need that type of capacity.
I really think on the millimeter wave connections, once we have more efficient equipment, radios, and everything else is added that's coming, I really truly believe Verizon can start offering tiered speeds for home internet on millimeter wave. Oh, yeah. I think that's an option.
I've already seen the plan. It's 300 megabits down. It's 500 megabits down, and I don't know if it's 800 megs or if it's a full gig. But I've already seen the business plan, so that is 100% true. They are going to do that, Tyrone.
Yep.
That is confirmed. I have an email and everything to show it. That's it. You guys good? Anything else we need to cover?
I mean, there is a couple things, right? C-band's on deck this quarter. I'm predicting this quarter, Sneed, Tyrone, for the launch of C-band. I'm also predicting standalone this quarter. iPhone this quarter, remember? iPhone. September September. Wait, hold on. Where is it? Launch date September 24th. Predictions and announcement on September 7th. Pre-orders September 10th. Official SMT exclusive prediction. There we go, Cha-Cha. There we go. Oh, shit. That's what I'm predicting. So if we are right, you know exactly what people are going to start saying. They're like, oh, there's a new leaker. Oh, shit, there's a new leaker. I'm telling you.
Oh, man. Nikki, I was going to answer your millimeter wave questions. The Samsung nodes have been optimized around the bakery. They're all doing like 3.8, 3.9 gigs down, and they're all doing like 100 to 200 gigs on the up. Some of the sites are doing 250 up. It's crazy, Moose. These Verizon, if I had to quantify it, they're 2 generations ahead of AT&T in millimeter wave. They're 3 generations ahead of T-Mobile millimeter wave. Like if we're just talking millimeter wave. It feels like 7 degrees of separation, man. Typically I get like 1.2 to 1.7 gigs on AT&T for millimeter wave, and with T-Mobile I have trouble even staying connected. So it's like 2 different worlds. 4x carrier aggregation uplink coming on those nodes end of year. Holy cow.
And here's another thing, Sneed, before we end the podcast. As millimeter wave develops, because it's still in early development, I mean, there's still more coming to that technology. Repeaters, 1024 QAM, 4x4 MIMO, as mentioned. The owner economics of having fiber running to these small cells for Verizon are going to come into play. They're going to be able to do 20 gigs, 30 gigs at will. They own their own backhaul. In what world is T-Mobile going to be able to call their fiber provider and tell them, hey, bump me up to 40 gigs, and it's going to cost them the same?
No.
Make that make sense. I mean, I know Neville has stated that, but how are they going to compete speed-wise in the future when we're potentially going to be able to see in real-world scenarios 5, 6, 7, 8 gigs of pure throughput coming from a millimeter wave node?
Yeah, I think you're right, Tyrone. Outside the Northeast, Verizon doesn't own a lot of their backhaul either. Yeah, but it doesn't look like they're afraid to upgrade it, right?
Yeah, it's coming. I mean, they want to have, half their network on fiber by 2023, 2024.
Yeah,
I think that's what they mentioned.
The One Fiber program they're focusing on it.
Yeah, it's like scaling at an insane pace.
There's about 30 CRAN up here in the CLE that are still not transmitting. They're not broadcasting, just waiting for fiber. And Verizon's not in a hurry. Whenever they can put their fiber there, they'll do it. You know, it's the owner economics. They want to make it cost effective. And this may be why T-Mobile wants to stay away from small cells.
That's what Nicky T was telling me. He was like, think about it. He was like, if you got to build small cells and then you got to lease additional fiber to that small cell, that's got to increase your CapEx or your OpEx in some way. It's got to cost money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll talk more about that on another show, I'm sure. And that's going to continue to come up through the rest of the year, most definitely. All right, y'all, we got some great videos up and coming. Tyrone, you probably have at least 1 or 2 videos coming out tomorrow, so you guys can check out Tech Life channel. Go ahead and subscribe and watch some of his content. And, you know, he's a friend of the show, and, you know, we support each other on our channels, so most definitely check out his content. Big shout out to Moose. Thanks for joining. Josh, no, dude. I got iron bladder, dude. I'm good to go. Big shout out to Dave Beast Tech, another super chat. Big shout out to all my super chat donos. Thank you guys. Super chat brought to you by T-Mobile Home Internet. Thanks for that donation, Dave. Appreciate it, man. Moose, thanks for coming on, man. Let's go ahead and wrap up the show.
Oh, man.
Hashtag
Tomorrow
ravioli.
The videos, man. Tomorrow the videos.
Hashtag 2Live Crew for those of you watch this in the live broadcasting on July 13th. It is 10 p.m. Hashtag Mod Squad for those with the blue wrenches holding it down for me. keep it things kosher. Hashtag replay crew for those of you watching this on DVR. Hashtag ravioli gang for those of you watching this while eating dinner or snacking. And hashtag iron bladder for Sneed, not having to use the restroom after drinking a 20-ounce Mountain Dew. How you like them apples? Thanks, Jose. Appreciate it. And Moose, 200 megabits per second on millimeter wave, not congested. I'm going to leave it at that.
Oh, man.
We out this piece. Peace.